You're listening to the 808s and Joysticks podcast, now available on Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube.
Welcome to episode 7 of 808s and Joysticks, the show that bridges the gap between games and music seasoned with pop culture. I'm Tyrell, and joining me today, as always, is Tom.
Once again, it's been a busy few weeks in the gaming industry and even like the music industry. This past week has been insanely good for hip-hop fans. But we're going to get straight in and talk about Walmart leaking basically a lot of games due to an administrative error. And a lot of these are sort of announcements that possibly would have been at E3. Games such as Rage 2 from Bethesda, and Bethesda basically have had to react to this and sort of confirm or deny and have to release certain things in order to not ruin the whole surprise of it. Mm-hmm. So going down this list, do you want to go down this list and read out, and we can sort of discuss?
Yeah. We'll just read everything out. Some of these things I think people knew were coming anyway. So we've got things on this like Last of Us 2, Final Fantasy 7 remake, Borderlands 3, Smash Bros, Metroid, NBA 2K19. Beyond Good and Evil 2. These are a lot of games that we already knew were coming. But then there's also some surprises like Gears of War 5 is on there. Rage 2. I don't think anyone really knew Rage coming. Just Cause 4. It says Dragon Quest 2 is coming on Xbox, which is a little bit of a surprise because Dragon Quest usually doesn't release outside of Nintendo machines or like handhelds or like PlayStation. So that's kind of interesting. A game called Insurgency Sandstorm. I feel like I should know what that game is. What I just don't really know. Lego DC Villains as well. And I think that's about it. But yeah, as Tom was saying, Bethesda have responded to these reports and these rumors in basically the best way that they can is confirming it themselves, but kind of like deflecting it in kind of like a funny way. So the reveal date for Rage 2 has actually been announced now. I think it is coming on the 23rd of May. Bethesda has something that they want to confirm or want to reveal, and it looks like Rage. So that's one of their cats out of the bag. But they said that they're gearing up to be having one of the longest Bethesda conferences that they've ever had. So I'm assuming they've got a lot of information to be sharing with everyone at E3 in terms of, in regards to the games that they've got coming up. And, seeing as there is no Elder Scrolls title on the leaked list, could maybe have just not made it. Might not be even in the works yet. Or that could be one of the bigger surprises as well. We're just going to have to see. What's your thoughts on that, Tom? Anyway, obviously, Destiny Comet as well. I don't know if that's a new Destiny game, but I'm going to be...
Yeah, so that's the thing that caught my eye.
I'll be pissed if this is a new Destiny game, because Destiny 1 came out 2 years ago, 3, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and then now there's Destiny 2, and then that was both of those games supposed to be 10-year plans, by the way. Like, it's supposed to be like expansion packs, and now we've got Destiny Comet coming out. Like, really? Are you really gonna, release this now? Like, another Destiny game? Like, I don't know.
The thing that confuses me is the fact that it's priced the same as every other full-price game. So it's basically $80 on the Walmart website. And to me, that doesn't seem like a sort of additional thing in a game. That just seems like a brand new game. To be honest, these could all be placeholders as well. Obviously, not all these games could be real because it's a leak, which means the prices might not be.
Yeah.
There's things like Just Cause 4 though, which is on there, which is possibly like a big announcement for people that like Just Cause. But there's like Borderlands 3 and Splinter Cell. And then the other thing that sort of really like interested me was Assassin's Creed, because does that mean it's going to be like a bi-yearly release now or a yearly release? And it's just called Assassin's Creed as well. There's no name or anything under it.
It used to be a yearly release, didn't it? Assassin's Creed, until this is the first
they
one that they took time out of to actually work on it, and it was actually one of the better Assassin's Creed. Origin was, so maybe they've just got a blueprint now. Also, Watch Dogs 3 is supposed to be coming, so I don't know if they want to release like 2 open world games that are like similar in nature, just 2 different kind of like playing styles. I don't know.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. It's exciting to see that there's obviously things coming. Metroid as well. It's obviously a big thing for Nintendo. Sort of passed that over, but Metroid Prime 4. I mean, people sort of knew it was coming, but to see it there, like on the Walmart website, it basically confirms it a little bit more, and basically confirms that it's coming out maybe sooner rather than later, which is what a lot of people were speculating over. But say Assassin's Creed is the thing that's like going to be a bit confusing for me, what they do with that and where they go. I'm not sure if they're going to just reboot the series as a whole, because obviously I think Origins was meant to be before.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see where they'll take it and what they'll do after they've had this break and now the game was good, whether they'll just go back to their old ways of releasing it and sort of drag the franchise out again and kill it, or whether they'll learn from their mistakes.
But we can't like... I don't really want any more Assassin's Creed games, to be honest. Like, I do. I used to love the series so much when I was younger. But now, it's just really boring. Like, Origins, even like looking at the gameplay, yeah, it looks impressive what they've done. But at the same time, so many bugs. The story just didn't seem to be that interesting. It's long. Like, I don't even know how many games are in the series now, but it's a lot though, and like that's a lot of games. That's a lot of ground to cover. Like, you're gonna remember all these things as well, like to try and connect them together. I don't know about that, but
it's not. I don't think it's been 15 years either. So there's a lot of games over that time
yeah,
period.
over that span. You see exactly. Like, think about like some of the game series that we used to follow when we was kids. I think he even has more games than like the Metal Gear Solid main series now, which is a lot. Like, that's a lot of games. So for them to come out with another Assassin's Creed, I don't know about that. It could be coming out next year though. We don't know. Remember, these are all just tentative, pre-order only. You know, Kingdom Hearts has been on pre-order only for like the last 8 years. So I don't really know what this all means. I heard Final Fantasy VII wasn't even being close to being remade yet. Like, I heard they were having real internal studio battles. So I have no idea what's going on. Some of these games are looking likely not to come out this year or come out for a while, at least. Just get announced and go for pre-order, which is what companies do all the time with Amazon. So I like to kind of take this with like a pinch of salt.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of going back over the Assassin's Creed thing. The only games that really release yearly now are sports games.
Yeah.
Apart from like COD and stuff like that. But again, COD's shown that even that will like kill a franchise releasing it yearly.
Well, and it's not like a fair comparison, because COD then also has 3 studios working on it every year.
Yeah.
So that studio technically has like 2 years and a bit to make a game, while the other 2 studios all have that kind of same amount of time to make a game. So they're spending more time on the game. But like with Assassin's Creed, they've just got Ubisoft. I don't even know which part. I think Montreal.
Well, I'm not sure if different ones work on it now.
I think Montreal, is still the main team. to be working on Assassin's Creed at the moment, but I could be wrong because I know
that the French team worked on Unity, I think. So I think they work like between teams, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can make a good game by doing that in a short period of time.
Yeah, that's true.
And we see each year from sports games anyway that yes, like there's improvements, but it's only slight improvements.
Mm-hmm.
And to pick up a game as big as Assassin's Creed, now it's open world, and release it yearly, like you're not going to see much difference for that. Even bi-yearly, you're not going to see much difference.
Exactly.
If you go back and look at like GTA's or the Fallout series or the Elder Scrolls series, like every time a new game is released, it sets like a new standard for the series. Whereas Assassin's Creed wasn't really doing that before, and if they go back to doing that now, I don't know if they could set a new standard all the time, because technology doesn't change that much. Like it changes quickly, but you haven't got enough time to implement all that new stuff within a year and test it and release it.
Yeah, exactly. I also think as well. Sorry, like we'll come back to what I was just looking up some things about Assassin's Creed, and I was just thinking, like, they actually haven't even followed on a story since, have they? Like, remember, like the last one was called Assassin's Creed 4, but then after that they dropped the numbers. So maybe they just knew that they just couldn't continue on trying to like make a story out of it. So now we're just gonna make them. Friggin' hell! There's this 8th made. So how many games is in this series?
There's a lot, because they released a lot of like smaller games as well, and it's basically just a big franchise at the moment that they release like games for certain consoles. But if you're going on like main games in the series, I'm probably guessing like 8 or 9 at the moment. But then if you branch that out into like games that were released that aren't part of the main series and games that are released on like portable consoles or mobile, you're probably looking towards the number 20 or more.
Well, when I looked on here, Assassin's Creed Origin, if we're talking like main canon and story, Origins is the 10th major installment in the Assassin's Creed series. The 10th, Tom.
Well, that's also when they took a break for a few years not to release one.
Yeah, that's true. So imagine this could have been 11.
And you've also got to bear in mind, I don't think the first 2 or 3 games were released yearly.
It actually really is 10, This is not even like none of the side games or anything. Like Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, Black Flag, Rogue, Unity, Syndicate, Origins. That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. That is, man. That is so crazy. And then the side games as well, like Altair's Chronicles, Bloodlines, Assassin's Creed 2, Discovery, number 3, Liberation, Identity, Chronicles. That's just a lot of games. But anyway,
considering the last game I played in the series was Black Flag, which was 4. That shows like how long I've not
played,
interested in the series for, because there's only so much of, like, you can't change the gameplay style each year that much. And the reason why massive AAA games that are open world sell so well, like the hype for Red Dead Redemption, for example, is massive because it's not released all the time. And it's something people pick up and they play and they like get invested in it, and then they'll go on and play another game.
Yeah, that is true, but at the same time, we just have to hold Rockstar accountable, because Rockstar used to release games all the time, like back in the day, and now for like the past like how long, they've just been running off that GTA Steam, and I think it's like really messed up, because like they used to be such like they used to focus on single player experiences that lasted for ages, but now they're like focusing on like a single player experience based within like a multiplayer like world. And I just hope they're not going to like GTA Online, Red Dead, which I think is what they're going to do, because it's going to be like their next big
There's
7-year plan or whatever like that they're gonna have.
Yeah, there's rumors.
And I'm like, fuck that, man. Like 7 years of Red Dead. Like, there's only so much horses and shit I can take. You know what I'm saying? Like, the same thing with GTA. There's only so much like crazy shit like driving and that. Like, and people love that game, you know. But I just never seen like past it. Like, I was just like, online's cool, but like, it's just not as stable enough, and I don't know what I'm doing enough. Like, and it's just the servers are shit. Like, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. There was no heist for like years. Like, and that was promised.
The one thing that I was waiting for, the heists when it came out.
And then the heist finally came out. They finally came out, and I think they were DLC. Like, what the fuck? Like, nah. I'm good, man. I'm good.
I enjoyed the game, like playing it, but it was like whilst I was playing the game, and I'd finished the story, I wanted a little bit more, and I could have freedom online.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine, but after that point, it wasn't for me. I do think it's like it sounds weird, but I do think it's designed for like more kids. The online thing, even though obviously the game
like that
isn't meant to be designed for kids, but you have to bear in mind a lot of kids will play this game, and they're the ones that are going to be probably spending money mainly on.
We have to remember as well
transactions.
That's like we spoke about this last week, didn't we? Like, a few podcasts ago, we talked about how like, you know, the main buyers of like these loot boxes and, you know, all this like money and like, you know, microtransactions is younger audiences. And yeah, it's for the game. GTA is not supposed to be for younger audiences, but parents will go out there and buy these games for their kids and then be surprised that they've racked up debt on this 18 plus game. So they're just as accountable for it. So I'm putting everyone accountable, parents, and also Take-Two, because they've been known to be greedy fucks in the past, and what they say in their conference calls in regards to how they treat players, they just treat them as like cash cows, and like that's it. And I forget it, it's a business, but at the same time, like, you should have a little bit more respect for like the people who've made you so much money, but they just don't want to. Like, me and Tom both know well and good like how the gaming industry can be. So, especially business wise, when it gets down to the business side of it. But
it's the main difference, though. It's just the things that like the people that are in charge aren't necessarily gamers or
developers.
They don't develop or anything or design. They are purely businessmen, and they look to make profit.
Yeah,
and to them, no matter what business they're in, every customer is treated as money.
Exactly.
It's not treated as like a customer.
Exactly. It's true. It's very true. But yeah, those were the leaks. So we had to go on there a little bit of a dark turn, but we've got some more positive news anyway for you. Crash Bandicoot Remaster is releasing on Switch and Xbox One and PC early. It arrives on the new platforms on June 29th instead of July the 10th. I'm not quite sure why they've pushed it forward, but I think it's maybe to get it out there, because I think everyone's a little bit like, they're a little bit held up on Spyro now. So
yeah,
I don't think...
I think that could be...
Yeah.
That could be the thing.
So I feel like they're just like, okay, we've got the Spyro hype going. Let's just get Crash out as fast as we can, because that's it. It just needs to be done. And I think this is just good news for all-around fans of like the games that I've never had a chance to play them. So... yeah, go out there, cop that. June 29th. It's a really good game. It's very hard though, so don't expect it to be easy just because it's a platformer. It's really
I think I'd definitely be picking it up on Switch.
On the Switch. Hey, it's fun as shit, man. Like, when I was playing on PS4, like, it's really fun. So, it's just how I remember it as well, which is so weird, because I played it when I was a really, really young kid. That was quite a few years ago now. Yeah, that's about it, really. You got any more thoughts on Crash coming out June 29th, or?
No, I mean, they pushed it forward like 2 weeks. It's not really that much of like an early release, but it's some happy news in a time where games are always getting delayed, that someone's brought a game forward.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I see it as well. It's just a positive. in my opinion, because it's a really good game. It's not expensive. It's a full remaster. We're not just getting HD. Like, it's a proper, like, retextured, redone. They even did the physics from the ground up. Like, it's a proper remaster, and you're not even you're getting 3 platforming games, which will give you a lot of endless fun because it's so difficult. You'll be spending a lot of time in the game. It's not like I'm going to play through it and beat it in like a couple hours. Like, you will have lots of fun on there, and it's family fun as well. Like, play it with a sibling or play it with, like, you know, cousin or a parent. Like, it's a fun game. So
on that note as well, the thing that like being a Switch owner, games are always really expensive on Switch because it's sort of customly made. It's not on a CD, it's on a little cartridge, and obviously they'd probably charge more because of manufacturing and stuff like that. But Crash is coming out at the same price. It's coming out for like £28 on the Switch. So, like, for me, for that to be the same price and for it to be like a game that I really want to play and I can play it portably, it's just really good that there's a game coming out at the same price as other console games, and it could lead prices to drop, hopefully, like in the future. It's Nintendo, but I think this game in general coming to more platforms is breaking the norm, coming early, again breaking the norm, and like changing prices. It's sort of like, it's always been a pivotal game in the industry, Crash, but even now, like, I still think that because of how hard they're trying to push it onto certain things, that it could lead to making everything better again.
Whoa! I don't know about that, Tom. I don't think Crash the remaster can save the gaming industry. I wish it did, like, but I don't know. I hopefully it's just nice news to hear it as you know, in comparison to all the whack news that we get about like loot boxes and stuff. It's pretty depressing time at the moment. Like, you know, we've got E3 coming soon though. That's going to be good shit. You know, we've got some exciting things planned for E3 as well, like for the podcast wise, and you know, there's good times in games industry. Like, the whole gaming community comes together for E3, and I really like that aspect. So it should be good. Moving on to our next topic is Thanos or however you pronounce it. It doesn't really matter, innit? Like, who cares?
I think it's Thanos.
Fuck you, Tom. It doesn't matter how you pronounce it, but he's in Fortnite, and I don't know where this collab came from. Like, I don't know where it came from.
I know a little bit more about. It's based on like a superhero season or something, or to be honest, I've stopped like following Fortnite now because I'm not interested in the game that much. I understand why people are interested in it, but it just seems to be turning over stuff. Like, there seems to be too much going on all the time with it now. It looks cool that you can get Thanos in game. Apparently, he's OP as fuck.
Oh, no! Apparently, they've nerfed him now, like a little bit more. Like, he's easier to kill, but he's still OP with the power though. But he's easier to kill now.
I mean, yeah, to put a character like this in, a guy that can destroy the whole world with this glove against people with like a pickaxe and a gun. It didn't really seem like a concept. It was only meant to be for like a day or so as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be short. Then they expanded it, and then I don't know if they're in talks or whether like they want to make it into like maybe a game mode, but I'm not quite sure how that would work out, because Fortnite, like, what they're doing at the moment, which is really good, they're just testing out a lot of different things to see how people react to things. So I
can see this coming.
They keep bringing back 50v50 in it, so I feel like that's what they're trying to like focus on now, is the large scale battles. They're just doing like server tests basically on how that works out on console and PC, and I think even mobile as well, which is impressive. So if you want to go and play Thanos and destroy the world and turn everyone into dust, spoiler alerts, then go ahead and see if you can chance your luck at becoming Thanos in Fortnite. because I think it is purely luck based, isn't it? Whoever gets to be him.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure. I think this could be a like you said, a game mode, maybe like 1 versus 99, where there's an OP character against everyone.
No, I don't think it is. I think just one lucky person is chosen to be Thanos in a normal match, and that's it.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I mean, like going forward, I think obviously. Like,
you mean like one
as a concept?
Yeah, like 1 versus 99. That's a hard concept, actually.
Mm-hmm. Or they could look at doing basically sponsored characters every now and then.
Oh yeah, or they could do the Avengers actually.
Yeah, if they keep like hooking up with different movies and stuff or different franchises to get a sponsored character every now and then, which is definitely something that is looked into, because the possibility for skins to go along with that, which would help them, again, is good. But I don't want to give them ideas how to make people spend money on stuff that doesn't matter in a game.
Yeah, exactly.
But to be fair, it's a free-to-play game. They have to get income somehow.
Yeah.
And I do think they're going about it the right way, as much as I don't like the whole stuff that surrounds the game.
What, you mean the memery?
I just mean everything.
You sound defeated when you say that. When you say, I just mean everything, man. Like, you're just sick of seeing it, aren't you, Tom?
A little bit, yeah. It's a good game, but like, it's just turned into like the game. Like, if you don't play Fortnite, you're not a gamer, and it's sort of the opposite. But it's basically a game for kids, but people are playing it and like getting obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's true. It is. It's weird. Like, I play and I'm just like, is it me? Am I just so shit at the game? Like, people are just really good at it. I don't know why. Like,
no, people spend time on the game.
Like, I don't know how people get so
time.
They get really good at the game, man. And I don't know how. I'm just like, man, I must be ass. Like, I don't know. Like, but then again, I think to myself, like, you know, I was pretty good at Street Fighter. That's probably the only games I'm really good at is fighting games, and that's me just being like mediocre to decent at best. Like, I've got friends that are better than me, so. But yeah,
well, we can sort of speak about Battle Royale going into the next topic, because E3 are teasing a Battlefield reveal trailer, or basically just I don't know if it's a trailer, but there's a reveal possibly coming on the 23rd of May for the new Battlefield, and there's big rumours that they're prototyping a Battle Royale mode for Battlefield.
You know for a fact that, like, there's not even rumours. They are definitely prototyping a Battle Royale.
I mean, do you want to take, like, the biggest game mode at the moment, making the most money, and put it into an EA game? If you ask EA that question, I think I know what their answer is.
EA are literally, like, as soon as Fortnite and like PUBG is blowing up, they were making sure every game that they ever make has got a Battle Royale mode in it now. Like, they're trying their best to make sure that, like, Battle Royale is in everything, because they just want all the money. Like, but I think the new COD's supposed to have a Battle Royale mode in it as well, actually. Mm-hmm. So
I think every game's got a Battle Royale mode in it now.
Fuck. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be trying to play Street Fighter, and that's got Battle Royale mode. Lizzie, I wouldn't even be surprised.
We'll see. I think EA really did, like, miss out though with the Battle Royale thing, because I do think that this concept was around earlier, but like, if they saw how big this concept was before starting development on Battlefront 2, they could have done a Star Wars Battle Royale mode, and that probably would have been pretty sick, and got rid of all those in-app purchases and stuff beforehand and just did that.
Exactly.
But I mean, it probably didn't make as much money, so that's the important bit here.
No, it didn't. But at the same time, I was actually, like, thinking about I was thinking about this the other day. It's something to do with like Battlefield and how, like, EA capitalizes off certain things. I feel like they're just always, like, they always try to use old methods of, like, how to do things, like, And yeah, it works, but like people catch on, like, and they can't keep trying to do the exact same thing over and over, like in order to get money out of people, because they know that like their profits using those ways are slowing down. So I'm not actually sure why EA hasn't even like toyed with the idea of doing a free to play game mode of Battlefield as the battle royale part instead.
Well, we don't know if it's free to play yet. It's not actually going to be ready for the game's release. Apparently, they're just prototyping it.
Oh.
But that does mean that they're like picking up on the hype, and they could release it for free or something. So I think we'll have to wait and see.
That would be good promo if they released the game mode for free, like online, like on the day of E3, so you could just play it. That would probably be insane.
Mm-hmm.
But
I do think though, like, I don't think EA could release a free to play game like Battle Royale. They could look into it, but I don't think they would do it for like their business in general. I don't think like it would be a good idea for them. This is going off like what people would say if they were like in a boardroom or something. I don't think they'd consider it because it's not guaranteed income.
I would like to see how like some of those games actually perform. Like I know Fortnite and PUBG, they do well, but I'm talking about games that have like released like a free light version. Like, this is all going to connect. Trust me. Just like how Tekken released like a free version of their game, like a Tekken game, which the servers are closed now. Like those kind of like light version of the game, like how like Gran Turismo had like a light version that you could download for free, and it had like some cars and like some tracks, but you couldn't really do it like everything in the game, but you could do enough to enjoy it. Same with Tekken, like you could grind the way to get characters, or you can buy the characters. So some people will grind and some people will buy them. Like you're given the choice in it whether what you want to do to have like the characters. So I found that interesting, but most of those games don't really last that long, and I'm just wondering like why. Like I felt like did PES have a free version? They did, didn't they?
PES has still got a free version.
Is their free version still out? Is it called
they
like
release a
Light?
yearly free version now.
It's called like Light.
It's basically like the Ultimate Team mode, but free to play. But again, because of the fact that the licenses aren't there, people don't. It means a lot to people just to have tiny things in a game, which is weird. But they won't spend the money on a game if it doesn't have certain things.
Yeah.
Even if it's free to play, like,
yeah,
we'll see. We sort of move on to that now, and we can go back to the other point later because we were speaking about it. But they announced a lot of stuff for PES 2019 this week, and they're changing the whole Ultimate Team mode anyway.
Yeah.
So releasing a free to play mode, if the Ultimate Team mode for them is changed, called My Club, if they change that to be more like Ultimate Team and the gameplay looks better, then it could mean that that's a thing people might move forward to because it's free to play. The only other thing is that they have lost the UEFA Champions League license. The UEFA license in general, so Europa League, European Championships, and the Champions League.
Yeah.
But it was out of choice, so they've made that decision to basically use more of their budget on league licenses, and getting more league licenses means they have more players, which going forward means that for something like an Ultimate Team online mode, you can then have a wider selection of players available, like FIFA does.
Yeah.
Because they're buying league licenses. Whereas Champions League license, like, it's good for them because it got them a game mode where they could say, like, the Champions League.
Yeah.
But they didn't gain any teams or anything from that. So from like a business point of view for them, that's where they're trying to basically bring in more teams in general to the game and compete with FIFA for that.
I understand.
Rather than having a license.
I understand a lot better now. Like when you put it like that, and I've like read what's going on with it. Yeah,
people just assume that like PES have lost the license because FIFA bought it off them. But they said in an interview like months ago that the guy that does the lead for Adam Batty said that he's not like, this was made with like a heavy heart, but it's a decision they need to make to move the series forward. And they won't announce the leagues until like after E3, or maybe at E3 they'll announce some.
Yeah,
which is what they normally do. But they've definitely got more. Apparently they've got fully licensed leagues now, which I think would be the first time they'll have like a fully licensed league in a game. They've only really had fully licensed competitions before.
Oh, okay.
But getting a league means that they get all the overlays like FIFA does. So it's like a broadcast package. And while that's not that important to me playing a sports game, to a lot of people it is. And even if it's just like the Asian leagues or something, it's still a big push for them to reach that audience, because the Asian audience at the moment for gaming is possibly nearly as big as the Western audience, if not bigger, especially in China at the moment. Like some of the games in China, like Football Manager's massive in China, and if they could break like that sort of area,
yeah.
Like, I know FIFA have licenses with things like that, but if they can break in going with gameplay, because that's what like the East. Well, you've got like the Western market, which is like Europe and everywhere,
yeah,
and everyone's really focused on presentation. But we all know that games coming out of Asia, normally from Japan, sometimes look like shit, but could be the best game.
Exactly, yeah.
Because the gameplay is really good, but the menus and stuff look trash. But that's because they don't care about that. Like, to them, that's not important in a game. Whereas for us, if nothing on the menu isn't like flashing out at you and stuff, then you're like, oh, this is a bad game. But it's just because of the companies that have been making these games for so many years, they've put that into everyone's head that that's the norm.
But the thing is as well, though, like, I always talk about it with people, and everyone always says that, oh, they're just like, oh, but FIFA just plays better. Like, so I don't understand what the consensus is. Like, why does everyone just think FIFA plays better? Like, is it just a sheep thing? Like, is that what it is?
I think basically, yeah. I mean,
because
PES has got
I got friends that
literally
literally
the best sports game in that. They've got 3 out of like 4 or 5 awards in the last 5 years for being the best sports game at E3, and you don't get that by having a bad game.
Yeah,
like, FIFA's never won that award in the last 5 years, so someone's obviously like doing something right gameplay wise. Like, I'll admit the menus aren't the best and it doesn't look as polished, but the team's also a lot smaller.
Yeah, but arguably the gameplay it looks way better because it's running on the Fox engine. Like, I don't think people understand what that engine is.
Yeah,
so
there's improvements that can be made, and like FIFA's better in some areas, but overall, if you want to play a game and you want to play it as football, then PES is like that game. Whereas FIFA's more pick up and play, like very arcadey, fast paced. And as much as they say it's not, and everyone now will say that PES is really arcadey and FIFA's a simulation, it's not.
A simulation, like,
you can play it, and you can tell like by playing each game you have to play differently, because one you can just run, the other one you have to like actually focus on what you're doing. Exactly. Like, well, it depends what you want out of a game.
I'll say I don't even really play football games like that. I haven't played like a solid PES since, I'm gonna say, like 08 or something like that. So I don't really play football games. I just play them with my friends whenever like I see them, because they like football games a lot. Like, just like how me and Tom will play like PES or FIFA sometimes. Like, I'm not really great at it. Like, But I can see why. I can see the appeal and the fun, but it's not my type of game, really. But, well, hopefully PES does great in 2019. I hope Konami don't drop it, because that's only my worry, because Konami's just... It's not about the game. It's about Konami as a company. Like, they don't care. Like, if they don't see what they want to see with the game, they will just cut it. Like, and it's known to happen in the past. So hopefully, like, they don't cut the game or whatever in it. So,
I think it'd be silly to cut the game, considering the abysmal decision they made with Metal Gear and how that went for them, and all the stuff that they've basically fucked themselves over for the last so many years. Like, I was going to say at some point they might realise, but it's Konami, so who knows?
Well, I think they are going to realise, because there was a report that in a board meeting in Japan, in the Konami headquarters, they wouldn't discuss the Metal Gear sales. Like, they were too scared to discuss it in the meeting with all the directors. So that's just gone to show how shit the game did. And if they're just scared to discuss it, that means their plan of getting rid of Kojima didn't work. He's on the up right now. Death Stranding on the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just... The thing is as well, yeah, like, they're like...
Gameplay next week.
I would say gameplay...
Well, I say next week.
Not next week, but in a few weeks.
I also say E3, maybe not.
It's like,
just hoping.
Fuck Konami, we ain't even going to talk about this shit anymore. We're talking about what's really happening, which is E3 as well, which is going on. And there's been a few games that have been announced. Sony says they're going to focus on 4 main games, which is a bit of a change for Sony. I was speaking to Tom before the podcast, and he was saying that there was reports out there said that they're not going to announce any new titles, which is also kind of a little bit surprising. But I'm kind of rocking with that. I hope Sony know what they're doing. They are pumping out some really serious, good single-player titles right now. And it's just a settlement from, how the industry is at the moment. It seems like PlayStation is going the other way, and they're releasing single-player games to a very high quality with great teams on board. Like, we've seen Spider-Man is one of the games, The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and the only Death Stranding by Hideo Kojima, which I can't wait for, because that means it should be getting a release date this year, which is hopefully, I'm predicting the end of this year, early next year, the game should be out. And I heard Last of Us 2 is going to be playable on the floor in E3, which means that must be well on the way to being finished. So,
I mean, it's what I want from games to be. The reason I got my PlayStation was to play Sony exclusives, not to play anything else on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's how much of a pull those games are for me to have that console. Like, I've got my PC, but I want the Sony exclusives because the games are that good, and I know how much time and effort they put into those games, like Spider-Man, God of War, Death Stranding, The Last of Us. There's things like Kingdom Hearts, just the things that come to the platform exclusively. I know Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be coming to Xbox, but still, there's games that just you can't get the same experience on another platform. As much as Gears of War and stuff is meant to be Xbox exclusive, and Halo and Forza. I think that's it. But
it's so trash. I just got how trash actually Xbox's lineup really is.
They have tried in recent years, but it doesn't. See, things like Horizon Zero Dawn, I still haven't played. I haven't got around to playing that yet because I've still got so many games to get through on Sony that are exclusives. It's just dumb how much stuff is coming to one side and not the other. But also, all the stuff that goes to Xbox, they're now bringing to PC. So, like,
they're fucked themselves.
If you have a PC, you don't need an Xbox.
Exactly.
Apart from if you want, like, I don't know, like the odd thing that's very rare and niche that is only on Xbox.
Which is what? What is that?
Halo. Oh, the older Halo collections.
What you mean the Halo game that was like the shittest Halo that came out, which was like a couple years ago?
I think Halo 5 is only on Xbox. Yeah,
it was terrible, and there's so many other like I can't believe that Xbox just has nothing. Like, yeah, where's Crackdown? Like that was supposed to be coming out time ago.
I don't know what that game is.
That game is so dead as well. It looks so outdated. Like they've been working on it for like 10 years. It's fucking terrible. I'm looking at this list here, and Xbox ain't got jack shit. All they do is like parade around those like first on Xbox games, which nobody cares about, which comes on PS4 and PC anyway, so I can easily get it myself. What are you hooking me in with this whole play on Xbox first? Like, or like Xbox and Microsoft, like was Halo 5 on Windows? No, was that still locked? Was that still locked down on console?
It was only? It was released as a free thing, online only free thing on PC, but it was called something different.
Oh yeah, really.
But they've took it off now because of some reason, or someone modded it and they took it down.
Oh, did someone manage to
There's rumours that Halo might be coming to E3.
Whatever.
There's rumours Crackdown 3 might be coming to E3 again. For like the 5th time. Fable might be coming back.
Oh, fucking
we'll
hell.
See.
Fable.
I liked Fable. Fable was a good game.
Yeah, and then we've got but
they ruined it with what they did with it.
Let's not forget who's on the fucking boards for that game. Peter fucking Molyneux. Of course he's gonna ruin it in the end. He's a liar. He just lies about things. Like
Anthem is. I mean, there's a lot of games that are coming. We all know that Cyberpunk. Well, I mean, if you're following, you should know that Cyberpunk 2077 is coming to E3 this year. Apparently, in a big way, is what they've been saying. They haven't announced anything yet, but CD Projekt Red are basically like making out like it could be a thing that's going to be there.
Well, I wonder who's going to...
Depends what stage they're going to be on.
I was going to say, I wonder who's going to get, like, who's going to have what platform, like, who's going to have who, because I know Ubisoft have their own thing, but then sometimes Ubisoft also premieres certain things at PlayStation or Xbox conferences, usually PlayStation, I think. But they've got a good relationship with Nintendo as well, so I don't know what Ubisoft are going to do. Bethesda's got their own. There's someone who's having their own conference, which is they haven't had a conference before. Square Enix has got their own now. So did they always
Kingdom
have one?
Hearts 3, please.
Yeah, let's say Square Enix has got their own. EA is first, as usual. Then it's Microsoft. Then it's Bethesda. Then it's Square Enix and Ubisoft. Then it's Sony. Then Nintendo's last on June.
Yeah,
12th.
Nintendo's last.
Yeah, they do their normal direct.
Mm-hmm. And we were doing basically full coverage of that anyway. Basically, our thoughts straight after what's happened.
Oh, well, Square Enix are doing what Nintendo do, in they're like live streaming it in English and Japanese.
Okay.
So that's what they're doing. Yeah, Ubisoft are just doing their same thing that they usually do. Sony hasn't revealed a time yet for theirs, but everyone else has got like a time and a date and a place where they're going to be. So it's going to be interesting to see what's announced. What about the other ones? Is the indie not doing them, like Devolver Digital and like the PC show or whatever? Is that not happening anymore? They're being scrapped.
No, I think the PC show will still be there. It's just normally on like the main days. It's not really like a conference.
Yeah, everyone always says it was boring anyway, so maybe something will show up there. Who knows?
The only things is like if you're interested in like Total War and stuff, then that normally shows up stuff like that.
Apparently,
like
they were like showing off like hard drives and like graphics cards, and like everyone was like, we don't want to see tech like or hardware. Like no one wants to see that at like a PC show, and it's like 2 hours and 30 minutes long, which is ages to talk about PC games. So I don't know, but yeah, we're gonna move on now to films and TV. We went and finally checked out Avengers after ducking spoilers for how many weeks, and I thought it was pretty good. It was a bit messy.
It was crazy.
It was a bit messy in parts. It was a bit wild, a bit crazy, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Like I just like shit like that. Like it was just a fun film to watch. Lots of fighting, lots of like shock and terror also at the same time, kind of, because it kind of like, even though I knew what was going to happen because I like read the comics and stuff like that, it's kind of a little bit like brutal, like to see on screen like what happens. Like you kind of think like to yourself like, oh my gosh, like little kids must watch this and be terrified, like, because it's kind of really, really fucked up how they like kill people off. By the way, it's big spoilers by now. If you haven't watched the film, get over it. And it's kind of like, I didn't expect them to go that way, but then again, this has been a 10-year plan in the making. So the people who have been watching the films that they're also expecting to watch the films should be kind of grown up enough to understand that people die. So little kids that are watching it, it is a 12A for a reason. I ain't got nothing else to say on it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I did fall asleep for some of it, but it wasn't due to the film being bad. There was so much going on, like, all the time, and it's an incredibly long movie. It's like, what, 2.5 hours long?
It's nearly 3 hours. It's like, it's like borderline. It's like 2 hours 40 something minutes.
It's a pretty long film considering there's no breaks in it, so it's just basically full blown action fighting. I don't think there's ever like a break, and you have to pay attention to everything everyone says, and it's just constant fighting in different places, and then there's the switching of like 4 or 5 fights going on at the same time, switching between them. You have to work out what's going on still. I think it was an enjoyable film, but they could maybe, like, I don't know, tone it down a little bit more. Like, it felt a little bit like a Fast and Furious movie at times, in the sense that there was just constant stuff going on, and it may like lack the story that little bit. But I don't know if story is that important for like a film like that. But they've been building up to it, and obviously it was like, there's that many main characters in it, and everyone's got like a part to play, and like it was good, but I'm not sure whether I would go and see another film like that again, or I'd prepare myself like before going into something like that again. If I know that's what the films are going to be like in the future, like, I'd probably prepare myself.
Well, I don't think it will be, not for a while anyway, until they start their next big phase of films that they usually do, which they all have already got planned. They've already planned like the next apparently decade of what they're going to do with like Marvel films. So they have a plan in mind. They already know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen after Infinity War itself, but it's been like a really big build up to all of these things that are happening. And part 2 is out next year, obviously, which we will go and see again, probably together, because it's we need to see the conclusion of what exactly happens and how, if I haven't already said enough, spoiler alert, how the post credits plays into all of this, because at the end, Nick Fury calls up, pages a certain person while he's fading away. And he calls on Captain Marvel. Whether you know who or not she is, she's a very important person in the universe of Marvel. Her name is Captain Marvel. So you can already, judge what she might be about. She's very powerful, very important, and I think she probably has what it takes to stop Thanos, but she can't do it by herself. And I don't even know where Captain Marvel's been in all of this, and how could she possibly be alive when Thanos wiped out like half the population, like on Earth. So I don't know how this all works. We're missing heroes. What's Ant-Man doing? Like, what's Deadpool doing?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, there's
Ant-Man and the Wasp's coming out soon.
Yeah, that's coming out soon. But
it links in apparently.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to link Deadpool into the film yet, but we know that Marvel now acquired Fox, so they've got rights to all the X-Men films to be inside of the Marvel universe now. And they've got the Sony rights as well, so that's why Spider-Man is currently in the film.
Well, for a bit.
Well, yeah, we don't know how long that's going to go on for, but I think it's probably beneficial for both Sony and to carry on the way how it is. They've got a good thing going right now. Hopefully, we know all these characters are going to come back because they've got films in the future that they've already announced, which is stupid. So we're just going to have to see what happens. But yeah, everyone's basically dead at the moment. But if you read the comics, if you want to do that, you can. But there is like 3 different endings to this story, so it's up to you if you want to go out there and do your own research on what potentially could happen. But it was an overall crazy film, but I liked it.
Yeah, it's sort of a good time for superhero movies, but there are things that are coming out that aren't as, I don't know, that maybe aren't as good as like previous pastime movies. So, like the new Predator trailer came out this week.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? I'm still unsure. I think it looks good, but
it's a very different Predator like film. Like, it's not the same as the the other Predator films. Like, I'm actually not quite sure where they're going with this one and if it connects to the older Predator films, but what I do know is it looks cool, and they've been trying to bring this film back many times now, and it might look like they might have something. So
yeah, this looks like the best iteration that they've tried that looks like it might actually go somewhere.
Yeah, like I feel like this could possibly lead on to like sequels and whatnot, but
well, it's from the director of Iron Man 3. It's also starring Keegan-Michael Key, which I'm excited about because it adds something different to the film, having someone like Keegan-Michael Key in it, like a little bit of comedic value here and there. And that's, a lot of films are doing that now, so I think that's probably a good way to modernize this franchise.
But at the same time, I'm looking at it and I'm just like I don't know, like the first Predator film is such a classic. Like, that is classic, like monster film that was, and
which is the trouble because of how good that film was. Like, it's hard to beat it in a way.
Yeah,
or that's change people's perception.
That's what Alien.
But because of how not bad, but because of the Marvel films before this whole Disney takeover and the Phase 1 films, like the Marvel films were, we can say, pretty terrible, bar some. Like they weren't the best superhero movies ever.
Yeah, there wasn't terrible. Well,
no, but I mean, if you compare them to like what we have now and like the current state of superhero movies, like obviously CGI and everything has affected that loads.
Yeah,
but they still weren't on the same level.
Oh, yeah, same scope.
If you go back and look at the whole movies in general, these are probably the ones people will remember the most. They've had the most impact.
Yeah.
But like the first Predator film is that film in that sort of series, and to try and reinvent that is going to be hard.
Well, what I'm saying is that I feel like the film would do all right. Hopefully, it has a little bit of like a nostalgic push behind it, just like how the new Aliens film did, which apparently wasn't supposed to be that bad, and it looks. I just don't know. Some people just say that like it's best to just leave the classics as it is, but as we can see, Halloween has also come back now as well, which I haven't really watched the trailer for it, but yeah, Halloween is back, and obviously it comes out Halloween, and it's with the same cast. It's with Jamie Lee Curtis, and Michael Myers is about to kill her. So I don't know what it is about, you know, bringing back the classics, but you know, next thing you know, we're going to see Friday come back, which I think they've been trying to bring back for a bit now, because the last Friday the 13th remake didn't do well. The Freddy remake was trash.
We had the game recently as well, didn't we?
Yeah, that's been so big as well. That game is so big. Like, I didn't even think it was going to get that big. It was a Kickstarter game as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's Kickstarter.
And, I mean...
That actually delivered.
Sort of linking like games and films more than ever before, really. Like each industry affects each other now.
Yeah,
like we used to get like the odd movie game. Well, I say the odd movie game. We used to basically get movie games all the time, and they were just like a bit trash. Some were really good games, but the majority were a bit pointless.
But most of them were always done by like the same studios as well. Like they always managed to like secure these licenses for these games that they just could not make. Like you need to give it to other studios that are way better than what you do. Like you're not focusing on these types of games like to make a film game. That's why most movie games are usually trash. But I'm trying to think if I've played a movie game that's like good in any way. But I don't think I have.
Some of the Harry Potter ones were decent.
Yeah, they were decent, but they wasn't really based on the film, though, were they? They were just like based on Harry Potter and just doing like Harry Potter things, like playing Quidditch and shit like that.
Yeah, so it took like things that were from the film, sort of like, but it wasn't like.
See, yeah, if we're putting it down
through the story of the film,
if we're putting it down to that, then like, you know, there's been a ton of like great like superhero games like Spider-Man and like Batman and stuff like that, and the Hulk.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, but it's like Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man 2 was a film game.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man 2. Yeah, that was a film game, and it was really good. I like that Spider-Man.
It's probably the best film game. But I like Arkham wasn't really based off the movie that much.
Wasn't like. I felt like Scarface was supposed to be a sick game as well. I think I played that on PSP.
I don't think I ever played that.
I think The Godfather was supposed to be alright as well. Oh, there is a few games out there still that I haven't even like played, but they're movie games that are supposed to be alright at best. But they're like classic films that have been like made into a game, so it's probably like easier to like adapt to that kind of like material rather than like a fresh new film that's just come out. Because then people know what to expect from The Godfather and Scarface, don't they?
Yeah. But I mean, like, if we're going to talk about basically taking like a classic and redoing it, Superfly is a film that came out, I think, in the 70s, 1972. And it had like a Curtis Mayfield playing in it, and he did the soundtrack as well, I believe. But to keep on that track, Director X is bringing that back now as a new film in 2018. Director X is the director that did the Hotline Bling video for Drake. He's worked with other artists such as Kendrick as well, and Drake on other music videos. So I think he did the God's Plan music video as well. And he's basically taken this old classic about drug dealing and changing it into like basically laundering cryptocurrency, and it looks very sort of stylized in the same way that like his film style. Whether that will work on the big screen or not, it's his debut, and it's going to be interesting to see. Future's also down for the soundtrack on this as well, so it's bringing in like music, old stuff, and just sort of like current stuff and mixing it all together a little bit. Whether it's going to be a flop or not, I don't know. It could easily be a flop, but it's just interesting to see that like a music video director is working on this remake of a classic film in a certain style that's been updated, and using someone like Future to do the whole soundtrack for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not stuff that we really see that much in the industry, especially the film industry, but it seems to be like happening a little bit more now.
Yeah, that's a super big like switch over, because the same as well with Gambino's new music video. The person who did it, shot it, should I say, is Hiro Murai, who used to do Gambino's videos anyway. Like they linked up with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and he did music videos, and then he like directed Atlanta that episodes. Like it's a lot different from directing a short 3 to 5 minute video in order to switch over to directing sometimes 30 minutes of content. Like it's a very different style, and it's the same with Director X, the way how he's like switched over. It just goes to show like, you know, the limits of like, you know, what you can do. Like you don't have to like keep yourself in like one box. Like you can like transcend, you know, you can switch over to like another like medium. I wouldn't say transcend, because, you know, music and films, you know, it's not like one or the other. It's not better than the other. So I think it's really cool. I was like, you told me about this film. I had no idea about this film, but I'm really interested in it now, and I want to go watch it in cinema. So hopefully,
I think it's interesting though that you've got like the original Superfly is quite a very like stylized film in general anyway, but to bring in ideas, like a lot of the current music videos now are like they have big directors behind them in that industry as such, and the ideas behind them as well are pretty crazy sometimes, like really interesting.
Yeah.
So to put that into like a movie sense, I think it makes for possibly, I mean, if it works, it could make for a more enjoyable movie-going experience. There might be like little things in the movie or like certain ways that it's shot that are different from the norm, and I think that's good. Because what I've seen at the moment in a lot of space films is that everyone does the Star Wars crawl now, where they look at the stars and then like go down, and that's fine. But like, there's got to be other ways to do that.
Yeah, like we need more like fresh ideas.
Yeah, it's the same as like redoing movies over and over again, but then flopping. Like this is basically redoing a movie, but it's a fresh take on it, because this guy is like coming from doing something completely different.
Exactly.
And the concept, by changing it as well, like it should work, the whole concept of the movie now, with this direction and the soundtrack behind it. Like it should work quite nicely.
He
whether it does or not.
He even like said that like he looked at the film and like he looked at the content and he was just like, yeah, I could have done like a total remake, but he goes, I wanted to like basically kind of restructure how the film was, because he said that some of the like the content and the stuff that was in it was suitable for the time, but at the time now, like he said that he couldn't put such like, you know, things in there about like being like, you know, hateful attitudes towards women and like how you treat them and stuff like that. Like, so he said that he like altered the script in order to kind of like combat those issues and like kind of like highlight them, kind of, which is really good. Like I like the fact that like he's thought about the climate that we're in at the moment, and like adapted the film, but not in a way where it loses from its like plot or like it's like, you know, its direction or whatever. So yeah,
it's just a modern take on.
Yeah, like I totally agree with you. Like
a classic film.
I felt like we needed, you know, like fresh. You know, there's a director who's come in with like a fresh idea on how to like remake a film, and it's his first film as well. At that.
Well, we've also seen like Kendrick was on like the Black Panther soundtrack and stuff now, and people are doing more like soundtracks for films.
Yeah.
You've got people like Future doing the soundtrack for this, working with a music video director. So I believe he possibly would work with. I think he would have like worked with Future to work out like to make songs that are based on the direction of stuff. And
oh yeah, definitely.
That can only be good for a film because it basically makes it like an hour and a half music video with a story.
Yeah, actually,
if you like all that stuff, then I think that it could be like a really good thing if it comes together well.
When you look at it like that, that is true. Like it could, if he's done it well enough, then it's cool. Like, and plus, like, yeah, the whole selling like a soundtrack based upon the film type thing is really cool because Black Panther, the album, was basically a Top Dog Entertainment album, and it was hard. So I'm looking forward to Future dropping an album. I don't like, cause it all works out for me. So yeah, I think that's really cool though. I'm glad you brought that to my attention because I had no idea about it. I probably would have just seen it and just thought, I don't know what that is. So
I only looked because I was listening to the Future single and saw that it was like from the Superfly soundtrack, and I was like, what's this? And just did more like looking into it, and it was incredibly interesting to like see what was happening. But it's not been like overly. There's articles and stuff about it, but it's not like it's not been a big news story as such. There's so much news, obviously, like in the current climate with the internet, that things do get overshadowed.
Yeah, they do.
I think something like that really needs to be brought to the attention, especially like considering we both like a lot of the stuff anyway. It could be like a film of the year, really.
Yeah, it could be one of them sleepers, isn't it? That's like come away and like everyone was like sleeper of the year or like underrated classic was like Superfly. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that one still. You want to segue into music?
I mean, yeah, we were just speaking about the Future soundtrack and music videos, and obviously Gambino performed This Is America on SNL, and the music video came along with that, and it's an insanely cryptic music video that basically covers a lot of things and is a very hard-hitting video, but it's a good video nonetheless. Like it makes its point and it's been watched several times. I think also it might be breaking Drake's streaming record or something of being in it's projected to stream so many things, which means it could stay in the top, to stay number one higher than Drake, longer than Drake. I don't know the exact details for that. I think it's projected to get over like 50 million streams or something, but it's looking good for like Gambino. Like it's weird to think this would be like his first number one.
I don't think it is. I thought Redbone went number one.
It might, maybe, yeah, okay, maybe, but I like the new sound he's going for. We'll have to see what comes of the album. He obviously performed another song called Saturday as well, which was a completely different vibe to This Is America. It's sort of like Michael Jackson inspired. And that could mean that he is still rapping on the album in some sections, and it could be like Because the Internet again, which to be honest I wouldn't mind, like a more mature Because the Internet.
Yeah, well, we was talking about that theory in it that he could be continuing on the story somehow, and some people have been saying that he might be continuing it on, but like now, if you follow the because the internet like type story, he played a character called the Boy and did performance art basically for a couple years, playing out this character who is similar to Gambino but so different in many ways. But now he could be carrying on the story, and now the boy is grown up. But this is like the state of America that he's grown up in now, and he's started to realize who he is and how he can make an impact in America, as opposed to just being a rich kid, or that's how he stylized himself as. Which I can see the parallels of like Gambino and how big and powerful he's got over like the last couple of years, like, you know, and what can he do for, you know, like black people in America, and what he can do to just highlight the injustices that are going on in America as a whole anyway, with just everything, like, and it's weird because we've got two of like our favorite artists on totally two different spectrums. Like we've got Kanye, who's on one end, and you got Gambino, who's totally on the other end.
Well, the thing is, Kanye is not really on like either end. It's like he says dumb shit, and he's basically put himself in one area because of the dumb shit he said.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like he says, I'm fighting for this, but that's the complete opposite thing.
Exactly.
And to have Gambino like in the position he's in now, to be able to do something like that, especially with how clever he is with coding stuff and making people look into stuff a little bit more, it does mean that people will go away and research that. So for example, the dancing is like such a key thing, and if people go and research it more, then they see other stuff, and it basically shows a much wider problem than just the video.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's things like the shootings and stuff in the video, and the dancing's mad. Like the dancing, the link for the dancing is impressive. And then there's like the filming as well. Like there's areas where people are filming, and there's the things that are going on in the background, and just subtle hints. And it's an extremely clever music video, but it does mean that people will go away and look into it more, or even if they don't want to, people will like cover what is going on in the music video, and people will watch that video that's covering it. Yeah, exactly. And it's opening people's eyes a little bit more, rather than Kanye, who is just sort of like tweeting stuff and saying that is wrong, or people that just sort of get on a soapbox and try and say like, this is wrong, this matters, we should do this, we should do that, but don't really back it up with any reason.
Yeah.
They don't leave it for people to make their own decision, which I think puts a lot of people off actually doing something for it, because they don't get the chance to go and look themselves. They just hear stuff and think like, well, I should be doing this because this person said I should. And like, obviously this is like becoming political a little bit now. We'll stop in a minute, but this whole thing that's going on, like, it is wrong. Like, you can't agree with it really.
Nah.
But you should be able to have your own opinion on it and make your own opinion. And people shouldn't be telling you what is right and what is wrong. Like, you should have your own opinion on it based on your research.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, yeah, everyone can always have their own opinion on it, but like, you know, there's time where like, you know, if something's wrong and you see something that is wrong, and you should understand that it shouldn't be happening, especially to the specific group of people. So, you know what I'm saying? But as I'm saying, I like the video. I like the conversation it sparked amongst people as well. I like that. Like, I like seeing other people who wouldn't necessarily listen to him have now seen the video and was very like interested in what he had to say. Because this is a man that's just come off the back of doing a Star Wars film. Like, how are we expecting him to drop something this socially conscious?
I don't know how he's doing all the stuff that he's doing at the moment.
I don't even know, Tom. I have no idea how he has the time.
He's made an album, recorded a Star Wars film, recorded a Disney film, recorded his own TV series, was writing another TV series that's like 5 things.
Exactly. Like, I'm pretty sure
in the space of like a year.
I'm pretty sure
two.
Deadpool was like on the way to being like done this year as well. Like, it's insane. I think he's got insane work rate, man. And we don't even know what else is even got in store, like, for the rest of the year. But yeah,
well, he's been going touring as well.
Yeah, he's touring as well. Oh, yeah. That guy.
But he is touring with Ray Schmurder.
Yeah.
I believe so. There was some dates. But they dropped Shrem 3 this week.
Shrem. Yeah, it's great. Great album.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I think you probably know a little bit more about it than me, but you can cover like the whole idea of it being 3 albums and what they're trying to do with that.
Yeah, it was basically a 3-album thing that they did. They were really inspired by Outkast. So Andre 3000, who released 2 songs today, by the way, go check them out. They're on SoundCloud. And Big Boy as well. So Sway Lee is Andre 3000 and Big Boy is Slim Jimmy. So what we have is 3 albums, 9 tracks each, 27 tracks overall. I think the album's about an hour and 40 or something like that, or hour 30. And all solid on their own. And as a body of work, they're quite solid as well. I like Shrem, the album. It's a nice mix of the 2 styles in one album. Strong features. Travis Scott feature is great. The Weeknd's feature is great. Doug feature is great. Like, very, very strong album.
The Thugger song or Travis Scott are probably my favourites of that album.
Yeah, strong intro. I like the intro, Up in My Cocina. It's very, very cool song. Very, very nice beat on that. Obviously, we've got Mike Will on the board with his air drummers team, which is nothing but great beats coming from them anyway. We all know what Mike Will's capable of. And Swaycation album, very nice, very R&B, very mellow, very just, it's just a great album. Like, I just didn't expect him to come with something of this nature, a lot of guitars and stuff like that, and I really like how he used his voice on this project. And then Slim Jimmy had the Dream Intro or the Dream Introduction, which was really, really cool. Slim Jimmy showed what he was capable of. A lot of people tried to like make Sway Lee out as the star, and he was kind of like just carrying him, almost like Big Boy and Andre 3000. But Slim Jimmy came through really hard on the project, and he impressed me. He's probably the third, like, his album might be my favorite. It's like even between that or Swaycation. I do like Shrem as an album, but them two together worked their ass off into making like their own solo projects. So I'm calling them the modern day Outkast, because that's what they essentially are. Like, they've got a Sway Lee who is eccentric, likes to sing, but also likes to rap, does them both well, like songwriting wise. He's written songs for Beyonce, all sorts of people in the past. So we can't even question his credibility on whether he can write songs or not. And then Slim Jimmy's a more hard-hitting rapper, also can rap when he wants to, and he's shown on this project that he can. That's it, really. That's my review of like the Shrem album. I don't know if you've got anything else to add, Tom.
No, I agree with everything that was on there. I like that they varied their styles on their solo projects and didn't stick to just like the same sound.
Yeah. But
as a whole thing, I don't think you can listen to it through. Like, you can just listen to the certain albums, but it's nice to have that change in a project as well.
Yeah.
Something that a lot of albums lack. Like, it's only 9 songs, but it's a little bit less to have 9 songs than to have like an 18-song album, and some aren't as good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just filler.
It's like they're focused on how to get rid of the filler, and the way they did that was like, okay, well, you do 9 of your best songs, and then you do 9 of your best songs, and then we do 9 great songs together. So like it gets rid of all the filler as well, which is cool. But then like Sway Lee has said that he's got like 30 unforgettables on his laptop, which I kind of agree with. Like he's insane. He's insanely talented.
Very much unforgettable.
Yeah, he's insanely talented. So I wouldn't even put it past him that he has another unforgettable, because Guatemala is very similar to that song.
It's similar. Yeah.
So But that was one of the main releases. 777. Oh wait. What was you gonna say?
Nah, it's fine. I was gonna transition using. If you want to talk about filler, we can talk about Carti, but we'll talk about Carti in a bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get on to the Carti album. 777 by Key. Very good project. Go check that out. Simi by Blockboy JB. If you're just looking for some fun raps and songs to dance to, the Blockboy tape is great. Watch by Travis Scott. Me and Tom both said it was trash. I don't know if he's changed his mind. I still think it's trash.
I haven't listened since, so I think that's just what's on my mind.
Exactly. That just sums it up. It's a trash single. No one's even talking about it at the moment. That's just how trash it was. Light of Day by Preem, also known as P Rain. He's an OVO affiliate. The album is pretty good. It's got some good, strong features on there by Post Malone, Offset, Lil Wayne. So yeah, go check that out. New single by Skeptical, Pure Water, which is really good. And BBK came out with a song called Athlete, which is a really cool song as well. And I'm sure a lot of these songs from these projects will be showing up on the new playlist this week. If not, there is some songs on the existing playlist right now from the Ratio Mode album and the Key album. That's about it for releases. Oh, Arctic Monkey came out with their album, but I haven't got around to really listening to it. I'm not sure if Tom has either.
Listen to it like on speakers in the background.
What's it saying?
To be honest, I didn't really pay that much attention to it. But it didn't really like catch my attention. So that could also just be for the fact that I'm not that much of an Arctic Monkeys fan, but it wasn't that big for me.
Yeah.
It's also a lot different from their other songs. But I mean, we can listen and see, but I doubt that a song will make it to the playlist from what I listened to. Okay,
cool. Well, that was out anyway, so if you want to check out that, then, you go do that. Also, the Internet Roll Burbank Funk, they've released a K-Tronada remix. It's really funky. It's really cool. Go check that out as well. Moving on to our last last two things we're going to talk about. We did just briefly talk about the playlist, but we're just going to drop some details about the playlist as well. New Carti album, surprise release. Kind of wasn't a surprise though, because a lot of his songs did get leaked a couple weeks ago, and me and Tom was discussing it because I actually have some of the songs that are on the album already, and it was a good project. I like how Carti, it's like he's listening to his critics who told him to talk more and be more clear and experiment a little bit more. But it is ridden with some filler songs as well, which is what I can't deal with that kind of like rap. Like, it's the filler tracks that get me sometimes.
Yeah. So I like the first sort of half of the album, bar I think like maybe the fourth song, and I just had to skip it because I couldn't listen to it because it wasn't good. Like, the trouble is, like, with this sort of rap, it's not like, it's never going to be like world class like music. It's never going to be like up there as the best of the best, but it's good music.
Yeah.
But when a song on the album is like in between two good songs, and it just doesn't work. Like it can make it sound like trash.
Yeah, exactly.
It just seemed like there was a bit too much going on in the song for me. It didn't really seem like it was going anywhere. So I just skipped over. But there are songs on there that I really liked. I can't remember the exact name of the song, but there's a few songs on there that I was listening to. I was like, this is impressive.
Yeah, like
the production from Pierre as well.
Yeah,
is good on.
I've seen the growth as well. And like Carti is like as an artist, and I feel like he's really trying to like not get back, but kind of like get back to his kind of like his SoundCloud roots. Like it sounded real it sounded like a rough album. Like it wasn't as polished as the Playboy Carti debut, the self-titled album. This one was more like going back to his roots. Like, and I like to hear that sound, but I still think he could still polish up his sound a lot more and concise it more. Like maybe give us like a 10 or 11 track album instead of like 19 songs, just to cut it down a little bit. But I know the reason why artists like this do this was because their songs are really short. They're never usually that long. So for him to release something that's going to be like a substantial like amount, he would need to like make like 6-minute songs probably, or maybe 5 or some 4-minute songs. But the album itself it's quite long actually. It's 58 minutes. It's 19 tracks, 58 minutes. But like, say for example, we just compare that with Post Malone's album, which is 18 songs. That's 1 hour and 5 minutes. So I don't know. It's kind of like, it's not far off, but it is 1 track longer and it's a few minutes shorter.
I mean, yeah.
So, and it's
Post also puts in like some shorter songs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he does put in some interludes here and there, but like, I'm just like, I'm just trying to like compare it like to like the climate that we're in at the moment.
In general, 19 songs at 58 minutes, like you're probably looking at about 2 minutes average a song, which isn't that long. So
yeah, which can get frustrating sometimes when you're listening to a song and it's really good and it just ends out of nowhere. So like Lean for Real with Skepta, like that is such a good song, but it's so short though. Like it just needs to be longer.
Yeah, I think that's a song that I really liked, and then it went into the next song, and the next song was just trash.
Oh yeah, that's old money. That is old money
because of how short the song was, and then going into something else, like without you basically being able to appreciate the whole song.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't work, but that's not saying like Carti's a bad artist. Like he's good. He just needs to work on stuff still, and that you could say that about basically any artist.
Yeah, you can say that about anyone really who's not like
it's his sophomore, and most sophomores are never the greatest.
No, unless you're Drake. Well, like
yeah, or I mean, Post Malone's sort of like killing it, but he broke the streaming record again for like the week instead of a day now.
See, but that I don't know. See, that's another conversation.
But he covers a wider audience.
Yeah, he covers a more wider audience. Like Carti is a lot more underground. He's still big, but he's still more underground. And that's about it really. The playlist, please, follow it on Spotify. Add it on Apple Music. Find me on there at young__T on Apple Music. On Spotify, it's 808s and Joysticks. We're constantly working with on better ways how to like kind of like get the playlist out there on different platforms, but it's very hard. So we're still going to stick with Apple Music and Spotify because it's working the best for us at the moment. And that's about it, really. Got any final thoughts, Tom?
There's not too much. No, there are things that we didn't only minor things that we didn't cover this week, but there's, as usual, there's always a lot of news regarding all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, next week is probably going to be no, okay. So next week will be the penultimate show before our basically like the build up to E3. There'll be a show just before E3. Oh no, it is the penultimate. Sorry, yeah. So, in 2 weeks' time, the next podcast will be the penultimate show before E3, and then the podcast does work nicely to come out after E3, but we will also be sort of doing some live coverage during that time. We'll announce details of that closer to the time. Obviously, it's like a month away still, so we're still finalising what we're going to do based on that. Moving hosting, we now have the ability to do live streams, and that is a possibility we might do. So we will, if you follow our social medias on Instagram, Twitter, and even the Facebook page, just 808s and Joysticks, search for that and you'll find us. Then we will be announcing more details on there in the coming weeks.
Yep. Yes, we will. And yeah, that's about it really. It's been a good week for news. The penultimate episode before E3 we will be doing a big Atlanta overview and final thoughts and discussion on the series, because it will be over. Well, it is over now. And then we'll also be looking at Westworld as well, the last 2 episodes. Well, 4 or 5 by then. And yeah, that's about it really. Thanks for listening. As always, guys, it's been episode 7 of 808s and Joysticks. My name's Tyrell, and Tom's here as always, chilling. Thanks for listening though.